Do you dart in front of cars? Here's a tough one. Do you have plumage? Do you rub your body against things to mark them? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... Were you hatched? Do you have fur? I'm not talking back hair. Does your boat fly south for the winter with the other boats? Regardless of how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945 and ESPNpensacola.com.
Pensacola Beach isn't just a sun-soaked white sand paradise. It's also the best dance floor in 50 states. Every Tuesday night, the stage near the beach ball comes alive with great music you know and love. Bands on the Beach are free shows every Tuesday through October, and they're brought to you by the Santa Rosa Island Authority. Later tonight, it's Johnny Earthquake and the Moondogs, the South's best-known and in-demand show band, high-energy rock, R&B, swing, funk, soul, zydeco, and everything. You'll love it. Join us for live music every Tuesday night at 7 for Bands on the Beach.
Sports is live and local every Saturday from 11 to 1.
This Toronto Raptor team deserved this championship because they played their butts off in the series.
Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen on your radio, on Facebook, and YouTube.
Hey, maybe you played for losing teams growing up. You just maybe don't understand what it's like to be a champion like this. But guess what? Whenever you are the best team in the world, you're going to let everyone know you're the best team in the world.
At ESPN Pensacola 945.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me, as always, Coach K. And if you'd like to be a part of today's show, you can always call or text our studio line, 850-972-1945. Again, that number, 850-972-1945. Coach, as we jump into today's show, we've got a lot to talk about. Some sad news to start off the show here, as Coach, we have some more information on what happened with Rod Bramlett and his wife at that intersection that they were hit at that unfortunately did cause the accident that took their life earlier in the year, about a month or so ago. And Coach, we got word of this because yesterday the Auburn police have arrested the 16-year-old. His name is Johnston Edward Taylor. He was the driver of the Jeep Cherokee that hit them. Coach, it seems that during the accident, before the accident, according to reports, he was traveling at an excessive rate of speed, well over the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. And also, when they did a toxicology report on him, they did find the presence of marijuana in Taylor's system. So, Coach, some sad news there that a 16-year-old kid, because he was driving too fast with marijuana in his system, cost two people their life, and now it looks like he's going to jail for 2 counts of vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah, what a tragedy. The loss of life, number one, and now a young man is going to go to prison probably for the next good portion of his life, maybe for the rest of his life. But it's just a terrible, terrible thing that happened, and we can't say enough, we can't caution enough. So I hope that some lessons can be learned from this, and that would be the only saving grace.
Absolutely, Coach. All right, let's move now to the NFL, Coach. We've been kind of going over these. ESPN has this list where they've been going through division by division, asking the biggest questions for each team. And Coach, we've taken a look at through the AFC West, the AFC East, the NFC East, and Coach now, or also the NFC South as well. Coach, now it's time to take a look at the AFC South, and we'll start it off with who many expect to be the favorite in that division, the Indianapolis Colts. And, Coach, it's going to be, will the Indianapolis Colts regret not being more active in free agency? And, Coach, I think if you look at what they were able to bring in the draft, combine that with what they have coming back in 2019, they weren't that active, yes, but I don't necessarily think that they had to be that active inside free agency because they still have a really good team coming back. Like I said, most people expect this team to be the favorite inside the AFC South.
Well, I agree with you totally. And there are other things that people should take into consideration. The reason, if there was somebody there that they felt could put them over the hump, I think they would have gone to do it. But they've got a young football team combined with just the right amount of, I think they're like 6th or 7th, maybe 8th youngest football team in the league. But that includes bringing Houston on, who offsets to the high side, and Luck being 30, but they've got some very good players. They've done well in the draft. Whenever they have gotten active in any free agency, it's been very calculated, and they've done well. Now, the other thing, keep in mind, they're built for the long haul here. I don't know whether people realize that or not, but by saving that money back and not maxing out the cap, they will have money that when the time comes to pay these, because these kids are going to grow up and they're going to get bigger paychecks, the bigger contracts. You either have to have the money to pay them, or you have to let them go. Yeah, your football team changes based on your salary cap. So what they're doing is they're holding that cap down so that they will have the ability to handle these young kids, good football players, as they come along. Now, fortunately, they've got the Luck under contract for another 3 years, I think. That'll be another biggie, but he's not one of those type quarterbacks who's going to try to break the bank. But then you got those young offensive linemen, Jordan, some of the best in the country. What are you going to do with them? And what are you going to do with some of those young defensive players? So I think they're taking a wise approach. I like the approach they're taking. They're building through the draft young players, and they're being very, very, very cautious about how they handle free agency.
All right, Coach, let's move now to our next team inside the AFC South. Going to take a look at the Houston Texans. And, Coach, the question for them, can Deshaun Watson make the adjustments necessary to become an elite quarterback? Because they're going to need him to take those next steps. They're also going to need several players on that team to take those next steps if they're going to compete for this division with Indianapolis. But, Coach, can Deshaun take those next steps and move up the ranks into the category of the elite quarterbacks inside the NFL?
Good question, and I'm not sure that I can answer that. I think he is a good quarterback, and I think you can win with him. But is he the type quarterback that you can hope that he can put your football team on his back and go win with? And I don't think he's that type quarterback. But because that would entail the absolute maximum of his abilities, which include, if you stop and think about it, his ability with his legs. And that's very dangerous. That doesn't last very long. So even though he does well throwing the football, I'm not sure he's at that elite level in the passing game. But we'll see. I like him. I think he's a good quarterback. I like the way he handles himself. A lot's going to depend on this year. I think we're going to find out a heck of a lot more this year. Now, I would say they've been disappointed in their defense because they've got some outstanding football players over there on defense. And I think if they step up, play their best defensively, and allow Watson to have those breaks that that quarterbacks do when they have those big seasons, they got a good defense. They turn the ball over. They get them the ball in a great scoring position, so on and so forth. So if he could get that, along with more protection, my gosh, I think he was sacked more than any other quarterback last year. So if just those two things could improve a little, that would make him a better quarterback, and we'd have a better, more reasonable chance to answer that question that you have.
All right, Coach, how about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Our question for them, can quarterback Nick Foles duplicate his Philadelphia success? Obviously led them to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago over the New England Patriots. But also, can he have that success also while complementing Leonard Fournette and that Jacksonville Jaguar rushing attack?
Well, we've said all along, I think he is ideal for Jacksonville. And why he's ideal is not that he's the type quarterback that, again, I don't think he can put a football team on his back and they can depend on him to run through the schedule. I don't think he's that type quarterback. He just helps to keep their defense off the field to be the best that they can be. And if their defense steps up and plays the way they did 2 years ago, Foles doesn't turn the ball over. He's a bright guy. He's not going to leave you in bad plays all the time. I think he'll do a better job of keeping the chains moving. He will do a good job in the plus 20 area, which he did at Philadelphia, and I'm sure it's because he understands the change that happens at about the 30-yard line going in, and it's pretty drastic. He will do a good job in those areas, and that's what it's going to take for Jacksonville to come back. So I think he's a very good fit for Jacksonville. What they needed to do was get themselves in a position for their defense to have every advantage they could possibly have to go play football, and I think that's what they're trying to do.
All right, Coach, let's move on now to our final team on this list. It's the Tennessee Titans. Our question for them, Coach, plain and simple, short and sweet, do they have enough firepower, especially on the offensive side of the football? Do they have enough firepower? The list here says, do they have enough firepower to win the division? Coach, I'm going to kind of downgrade that. Do they have enough firepower offensively to at least compete for the division?
Well, to compete for the division, you'd have to say yes. It's debatable, very debatable, as to whether they have the firepower to go win it, because you've got to outduel Mariota, if we want to boil it down to that. And you can cut it any way you want to. It's not just the quarterbacks playing, it's others playing too. But in a sense, Mariota has got to outduel Luck and Watson, and he's got to be able to be proficient against that Jacksonville defense. And if that is the case, which I don't believe it is right now. I mean, I've got my doubts about Mariota. I like him. I like the kid. I like the way he handles himself and everything about him. But boy, he just he's a guy that wants to run first and throw second, and I'm not sure he can do that. I'm not sure that Tennessee can protect him, especially the way he moves around in the pocket. So I don't think they're going to be able to do it. That's my opinion. They're going to be competitive and they'll hang in there and give people trouble, but I don't think they can do enough to win that division.
All right, Coach, I want to move or stay inside the NFL, but move to teams that have a window that is opening for them. A week or so ago, we talked about teams that they're in that Super Bowl window now, but that window may be closing for them. Coach, now I want to flip it and talk about some teams that may be entering that period to where that window is just now starting to open up for them, and they're just now kind of starting to make their presence known. And the first team I want to talk about here, Coach, a team that made the playoffs last year, a team that surprised a lot of people last year. You take a look at it, adding Khalil Mack on the defensive side of the ball was a big-time pickup for them. Mitch Trubisky had a great year, and they also relied on guys like David Montgomery and other players throughout the offense to help get them to the postseason. But, Coach, the Chicago Bears, are they entering that Super Bowl window, or did they just happen to have a good year last year?
That's a great question. And, I have to be honest. The jury's still out to some extent. I think you got to have more than 1 year. Trubisky, I think, is a young quarterback who has to get better, and I think he will get somewhat better. You've got Khalil Mack, who has given them a real edge on the defense, and they're good defensively, and I think they'll have a chance to get better. Surprising running game last year, which really is a big factor in how well they do. I think to say they're on the cusp of going to the Super Bowl, I guess you could say that because the division they're in is very, very difficult. It's tough. Frankly, I think there's some better teams, a couple of better, one in particular, better team in their division. But you could say they're on the, they're entering into a certain window, and I'm okay with that. But I think they've got a good ways to go before they can jump in there as one of the better teams in the league.
All right, Coach. How about our next team on the list? This is a team that went 7-8-1 a year ago, Coach. It's the Cleveland Browns. You take a look at them. They're bringing in Baker Mayfield, or they brought in Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. They've now brought in Odell Beckham Jr. They have Jarvis Landry in place. You've got guys like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and this is a team that is being built to be a competitor. But, Coach, they're not quite into that Super Bowl window, at least not for me quite yet. I've got to see them play with this newly revamped team that they have there in Cleveland this year. But, Coach, according to this article by Sports Illustrated, they are sitting there entering that Super Bowl window right now.
Well, there are a lot of people that feel that way. There's some people that, believe it or not, are betting on the fact that they're going to go to the Super Bowl, which I think is a little far-fetched right now. But I think they've got an awful lot of talent. The big questions to me are going to be how they handle. Now, every coach has certain things you got to say. It's just like when we were talking to Kitchens the other day on the phone, and we mentioned the word diva. He knew exactly what we were talking about.
Right.
But he wanted to short circuit any conversation about anything that would denote a bad relationship there, and I don't blame him. I think he was smart to do that. Is smart to do that, but it's still there. That locker room is a big part of how well you do, and they've got to make sure they don't have the problems there. Now they've got tremendous ability. How are you? Here's one thing you gotta even outside the locker room. How are you going to satisfy both the LSU receivers if you don't think they're counting the number of targets for each one, and if one gets more than the other,
right?
Blah blah blah, back and forth. So you've got some potential problems there. I like their quarterback. If you go down the list, we don't know that much about their coaching situation, but Kitchens seems to he's got good credentials. He's got good background. He's been with some good people, and we do know this about him firsthand. When he took over the offense last year, they went straight uphill, and they did a good job. They came in strong at the end of the year. I think they may have been 0-3 or 0-4, whatever. Anyway, he took them straight uphill. So he's done a good job there. They got a good quarterback. I like their quarterback, and I think he makes things happen. They've got some other skilled people. They're better in the offensive line. They've helped to put that line together now. So offensively, I think they're in good shape, and they'll be in good shape to even have a representable running game, I think. Defensively is where it's gonna count as far as getting to the Super Bowl. How good are they defensively, and how much pressure can they stand on their defense? And that I don't have a feel for right now. I think they've got a fairly talented defense, but I don't have a good feel for how well they're going to fit together. But overall, they're a good football team and getting better, and their trend is up, no doubt about that.
All right, Coach, and the next team on this list is, I think it's a team that, looking through this list, they got a couple more teams after this one. I think this is more likely of a team that we'll see in a Super Bowl out of this group, at least first. I'm not saying some of these other teams won't make a Super Bowl, but I think if you look at the Indianapolis Colts, Coach, for the reasons we talked about a moment ago when we answered their AFC South question, I think Andrew Luck, the talent that they have here, Coach, I think this is going to be a very fun team to watch heading into 2019, and I think they are the most Super Bowl ready team out of all of these teams that are on the list. And Coach, because of that, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that out of these teams, Indianapolis is not only entering that Super Bowl window, I think they're already in that Super Bowl window, and they've got a great opportunity this upcoming season.
I'll jump on that limb with you, no doubt about it. I think you're right. Again, they've done a good job. Look at it from the standpoint of how we look at every football game, for example, and take an educated guess on who might be the better football team. They've got a good coaching staff. Frank Reich is a heck of a good football coach, and he's instilled some discipline in that program. They know their X's and O's. They know how they're good schematically. They have an outstanding quarterback. I think Luck is he's one of the best in the league. There's no doubt about that. Offensive line, and this is hard to say, they may have, if not the best, second best offensive line in the NFL. And they're young. They can run the football. I think they added to their receiving capabilities through the draft. And I like this Colts team. I really do. And defensively, they seem to make big plays when they had to make them last year, and they were definitely a bend don't break defense. But you can play and win that way if you can stay on the field long enough offensively and put some points on the board. So I agree with you. I think the Colts are there. If they win their division, they're in the playoffs, and with a quarterback like Luck, anything can happen. So you're right. I think they're in the hunt already.
All right, Coach, our next team on this list, moving down here, the San Francisco 49. Coach, they're getting 49ers. They're getting Jimmy Garoppolo back at the quarterback position. Coach, this is a team that John Lynch has done a good job his first two seasons kind of piecing this together through free agency and bringing in young guys. But, Coach, Jimmy Garoppolo coming back is going to be the real catalyst for the 49ers, and I think a good reason as to why they're going to have a successful year in 2019.
Agreed, and I think they will. I like the 49ers, and I think they're going to be they got a chance to win this division. And people say, well, it's a foregone conclusion. The Rams are going to win it. No, I don't think so. I really like Garoppolo. I like what they've done. I think they're definitely a football team on the upward trend right now, getting their quarterback back. And they're going to be tough for anybody to contend with. I really believe that. I think they're going to be able to put points on the board, move the ball well, control it well. Defensively, they put together a pretty good bit of talent on that defense as well. So they're not a bad football team. In fact, I think they're a very good football team. Now, are they in the immediate hunt for the Super Bowl? Maybe a year away. But could you put them in there? Yeah, I think you could, because if they win the division, then they certainly have an opportunity to get there in the playoffs. I got to say, yeah, but right on the fringe of maybe a year. Maybe they're a year away from really being considered a legitimate contender.
All right, Coach. And then finally, the last team on this list, you take a look at the Miami Dolphins. Coach, not quite sure if they're even close to that Super Bowl window, let alone have stepped through it quite yet. Brian Flores is putting together a good team there in Miami, and he's building a foundation to where this program and this organization can improve. But, Coach, right now, I don't know if I would put the Miami Dolphins on this list with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I don't know how they got on there on this list to begin with. They're not in the position any one of the teams we've talked about are. Now that I think they hit a gold mine with the quarterback. I really do. I think they got him. They got an outstanding quarterback for basically nothing, very little. So I think they're putting the pieces together well. I think Flores will do a good job of discipline and keeping them on the right track. I think they'll be a tough football team to play, especially early in the year in Miami. But remember, they got to play the Patriots twice, and they got a tough road to hoe. But they're not in the chase right now. Now, they may be in another year or two, but they're not in the chase right now.
All right, Coach, we're going to take our first time out of the show. When we come back, we'll have more Talk Football with Coach K coming up right after this on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
This is the moment we wait for all year long. Summer. There's tennis to play, races to catch, baseball games to soak up, and softball leagues to win. Make sure you always get where you need to be with Pennzoil Synthetic Motor Oil. It's the first motor oil made from natural gas. That's right, motor oil made from natural gas. It gives you unbeatable engine protection for an unbeatable summer. The proof is in the Pennzoil, based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30.
Hulu's paying Tobin Heath, Carly Lloyd, Mallory Pugh, and other U.S. soccer stars a lot of money to do a new goal celebration called Hulu Has Live Sports. Why? It's simple. Because Hulu has live sports. You can watch the biggest games and sporting events like the Women's World Cup this summer on 60-plus top channels. No cable required. Plus, you can stream the entire Hulu library. Start your free trial of Hulu today. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at hulu.com.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game.
For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. Again, if you want to be a part of the studio or the show, you can call into our studio line, 850-972-1945. Again, it's 850-972-1945. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me, as always, Coach K. I want to take a look at some top 25 in college football because not necessarily going to be taking a look at the top 25 itself, but more so games that each team inside the top 25 should be aware of heading into the 2019 season. And, Coach, we'll get it started. Obviously, the number one team in the country, you've got the Clemson Tigers. The game they should be aware of, September 14th, early in the year. It's a road trip to the Carrier Dome to take on Syracuse. And, Coach, the last time Clemson was in the Carrier Dome, didn't quite go their way. Syracuse actually got the upset win in that game. Going to be a different Clemson team going in, Coach, especially with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback and all the receivers that they have. But still, Syracuse is a very tough team to play, especially in that Carrier Dome.
There is no question about that. And if you remember, that almost was a loss last year, even at Clemson. Now, of course, Trevor Lawrence got hurt, and they had to go with a third quarterback. But he is the difference, and he will be playing this year. And believe me, they're not going to forget 2 years ago and last year, and they know that Syracuse is a good football team. This game has been circled by Clemson, and they'll be ready for it. But you're right, this could be a real trip up for them.
All right, Coach, looking at number 2, Alabama here. Last time they were a top-ranked team in the country, sitting there at the top 1 or 2 spots, and they went into Columbia, South Carolina. Again, just like last time Clemson went into Syracuse, did not go well for the Crimson Tide. Coach Steve Spurrier and Steven Garcia, the quarterback for the South Carolina Gamecocks at that point in time, were able to put up a 35-21 victory in that game. Coach, you take a look at this game. Again, a different Alabama team coming in. It's a different South Carolina team, but Will Muschamp does have talent on the defensive side of the ball. He's got Jake Bentley back as a starting quarterback, and oh, by the way, he knows exactly what to expect because the guy that he learned how to coach under is Nick Saban, the head coach for Alabama.
You're right, and I think there are a lot of people that feel this way. It's going to be a tough ball game, especially at South Carolina. It's going to be that much more difficult. So I would agree with that. I think this could certainly be an upset for South Carolina there. And Alabama, I'd have to go back and look at Alabama's schedule. I think this is maybe on a most inopportune weekend too. But anyway, it's one they could get tripped up on, and I would agree with that.
All right, Coach, for the number 3 team on this top 25 list, it's the Georgia Bulldogs, and their game to keep an eye out for October 5th on the road against Tennessee in Knoxville. Coach, you look at the 3 of their first 4 games before they get to this point. They're going to be taking on Vanderbilt, Murray State, and Arkansas State. But, Coach, they also have that tough one against Notre Dame. That is going to be a home game for Georgia, but those are the games that are going to happen before Tennessee. Coach, any chance that maybe Georgia gets a little too banged up against Notre Dame and Tennessee's able to hang around and keep it close to where this could be an interesting game come the fourth quarter, or do you think Georgia's going to be pretty much in command of this game once it gets started?
Georgia better be ready to go in this ball game. Let me tell you what could happen. They got some teams there that they could really do damage to. They could win big early, so they could get somewhat complacent. Read their press clippings and think they're better than they are. And then if they beat Notre Dame to boot, they could really be on a high. Now they're going to go play Tennessee, and Tennessee's not going to scare anybody, not going to have anybody on their toes. Some way, somehow, he's got to get those kids ready to go play, because I'll promise you, Tennessee's a better football team than people think. I think Tennessee will have this game and the Alabama game, those 2 circled. And It's at Neyland Stadium. So, yes, this is a huge game for Georgia, and Tennessee could win it, no doubt about it.
All right, Coach, how about number 4? We've got the Oklahoma Sooners. Their tough game on the road, according to this article on ESPN.com. November 16th, they'll be they'll be heading on the road to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears. Coach, the Sooners have taken care of Baylor the past few years, but Charlie Brewer actually put up a 400-plus yard game for the Baylor Bears last year against this Oklahoma defense. He'll be back in Waco once again for the Bears. Coach, this is going to be a fun offensive game to watch. The Big 12, not necessarily known for their defense, and you don't expect a lot of it when these two teams will face off.
Well, that's for sure. Now, this game is at Baylor.
It is.
Yeah, it's one of those where you better be able to score in this ball game too, because Oklahoma's not going to be noted again for their great defense, so they're going to have to outscore them. And this is one you got to really, really wonder if they have the quarterback now that can stay up with somebody throwing the football. But we'll find out. And that this could be one they could get knocked off here at Baylor and send the whole season down the tubes.
All right, Coach, how about Ohio State sitting at number 5? Their tough game September 7th against Cincinnati. Now Cincinnati's new head coach, former Ohio State interim head coach, Luke Fickell. He was the head coach of that Gator Bowl between Ohio State and Florida. Will Muschamp's first season there in Gainesville. So, Coach, it's going to be interesting to have him heading back to the Horseshoe as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. And Coach, it's a Cincinnati team that went 11-2 last year. Could they go into Ohio State, into the Horseshoe, and surprise some people with how close they keep this game?
Well, think about the advantages there. A good coach, team on the rise. They've got a lot of confidence and momentum. They're going to play. Cincinnati's going to play Ohio State. Biggest game by far. I mean, in your own state, to go play the mother school is huge. Now they're going to play them at Ohio State. But I don't think that's going to make any difference for Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati could very well give Ohio State a loss, but at best, they're going to. I mean, at worst, they're going to play them very tough. So I look for Cincinnati to be a heck of a ball game there with Ohio State.
All right, Coach. How about Notre Dame sitting here at number 6? September 21st, they're heading to Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. And, Coach, this is going to be a massive game because Notre Dame coming into this game, they're going to be probably a top 10 team. Right now they're sitting at number 6. Could be a little higher by the time we get to this point in the season. Georgia, if they are able to, take care of business, like you said, I mean, expected against Vanderbilt, Murray State, and Arkansas State the first 3 weeks of the year. But, Coach, Georgia will be a top 3 team, so this is going to be a top 10 matchup. It's going to draw all the game day attention and things like that there in Athens. Coach, a monster game with a lot of playoff implications on the line for both Notre Dame and Georgia on September 21st.
Right, a lot of national interest in that game, obviously. Yeah, it's a huge game. It's going to, right now, look, you got to say Georgia's going to be favored, and they should be playing at home, playing Notre Dame. Both have quarterbacks coming back. So when you start boiling it down, both really from a coaching standpoint, and I really like what they've done at Georgia from a coaching standpoint, and good quarterbacks. I think you got 2 good football teams. Georgia probably would have the upper hand on overall talent and depth, but it wouldn't be by much. So I think Georgia at home, but this could certainly be a ball game that anybody could say, well, they should have been ready for Notre Dame because they could lose it.
All right, Coach, how about Michigan at number 7? Their big game, Wisconsin coming in. And, Coach, last year Wisconsin was a big disappointment. We actually talked about them before the season started in August. One of our first couple of shows we had here on Talk Football. But, Coach, we both liked Wisconsin, thought they could be a dark horse inside the college football playoffs. They kind of laid an egg on us last year, but, Coach, they're going to be looking to play tough once again this upcoming season. And the fact that Michigan has to go on the road into Wisconsin, jump around right there at the end of the third quarter. It is a rowdy and loud environment. And, Coach, it's going to be a tough one for the Wolverines.
It is, and this is certainly a target game for Wisconsin. You can bet they've got it circled, and they'll be ready to go. Now, Wisconsin, the thing they don't know who their quarterback's going to be yet. He's their starting quarterback transferred. Of course, he was not getting the job done last year, so he was going to lose his job. But I think Wisconsin is probably less formidable this year than I thought they were last year. I thought last year they were a good football team, good enough to be in the playoffs even. But that was not the case, and I was certainly wrong on them. But they do get some big, strong football players, and that'll be the case again. They'll be a very physical football team, but they're not the same football team as they were last year, I don't think. It's a big game. It's on the road, so certainly Michigan could be vulnerable there, but I think Michigan takes care of that.
All right, Coach. Well, let's go ahead and take another timeout. We will be back with more Talk Football coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Pros know doing it right means getting more bang for your buck because putting more towards your bottom line is good for business. Lowe's is here to help with July 4th savings like $45 off 5-gallon pails and $15 off gallon cans via Lowe's gift card rebate when you buy select interior and exterior paint and stain. And get up to 40% off select appliance special values like a Whirlpool refrigerator was $13.99 and is now just $9.99. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 7/10, U.S. only.
Escape Plan, The Extractors.
What goes around comes around. Ray Breslin.
Abby! Sorry about Abby. Where do you think this place is? Devil's Station. Bad place, Ray. What's the way in?
Deploying drone now.
We got visitors!
Starring Sylvester Stallone, Dave Bautista, and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
I'm done with prisons.
Escape Plan, The Extractors. Watch now on Blu-ray, digital, and on demand. Rated R.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And if you want to be a part of today's show, text or call into our studio line, 850-972-1945. Again, that number, 850-972-1945. Coach, let's pick up on this top 25 ranking. Basically what we're doing is we're taking a look at the top 25 and going through their schedule and taking one game and it's a game that they should really keep an eye on and be aware of and have circled. Coach, our next team that we're talking about is at number 8, the Florida Gators. Coach, you look at this team that they have to take on in Lexington. It's a Kentucky team that came into the Swamp last year and ended that 30-plus year losing streak. And, Coach, this Kentucky team is going to be looking to start a winning streak of their own against Florida. But Florida going to be looking to exact some revenge there. You've got to think Dan Mullen has this team ready to play with a chip on their shoulder. They're the more talented team. But then again, Coach, Kentucky is always one of those games. It's a lot like Vanderbilt for Florida when it's on their schedule. It's always a wild, crazy game that you think it's going to go one way and it ends up going another.
True, and both teams will be ready to play, no doubt about that. Florida, like so many in the SEC, they've got a number of games they've got to be up for, and that takes its toll during the year. It's tough to get them up for that many games. But I would agree they got to be up for this ball game. Kentucky, I think, is going to be a good football team, even though they lost a couple of people that are really, the pass rush is going to be diminished. No question about that. And their running back, I thought Chanel was a tough, hard-nosed running back, and of course with their pass rusher. And I'm not sure how much attrition a team like Kentucky can take with outstanding athletes like that. Other teams can lose them at Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, whomever, and just replace them with another talent, another person with that same talent. You can't do that at Kentucky. So I think Kentucky's going to be less from a talent standpoint, maybe more from a continuity standpoint and a momentum standpoint coming off last year. It's going to be a tough ball game. The point is, I think we both agree this is one Florida better be ready for.
Absolutely, Coach. We take a look now at LSU at number 9. They've got a trip early in the season on the road to Austin. And, Coach, that's going to be a tough game for them to start it off. They're going to have Georgia Southern, but they should get through that one pretty easily. But, again, heading to Austin, it's going to be a tough environment. Texas, they claimed last year after they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl that they are back. This is going to be a good opportunity for them to prove it.
Oh, what a big ball game this is going to be. And, again, one with national significance. And going to get a lot of respect nationally. I think LSU has a very difficult schedule. We could go through Auburn, Texas A&M, all of them. But yes, this is for an early season game, out of conference game, for them to have to go to Texas and play this Texas football team. Difficult to say the least. Can they win it? I think it all depends on the quarterback. I really do. I think it depends on how well they have come along this offseason with their new offense, their new wrinkle in the offense, and their quarterback if he's ready to go with the other skilled people they have there. I think that's going to be the real key.
All right, Coach, we move now to our final team here inside the top 10. It's the Oregon Ducks. Their tough game going to be October 11th. They're going to be taking on Colorado. And, Coach, not necessarily saying that Colorado is a team that can beat Oregon, but they're definitely a team that's going to play them tough. Colorado is a team in this situation very much like a Kentucky or a Vanderbilt, to where maybe the talent doesn't quite size up to a team like Oregon, but they're still going to play you tough, and it's going to be a hard football game when you take on the Colorado Buffs.
That's true, and they used to get outstanding talent at Colorado back when the Continental Airlines people were paying off players. But anyway, this is going to be a tough game. I tell you, the game that Oregon better get ready for is their opener with Auburn. It's going to mean a heck of a lot more than this game with Colorado. If they could beat Auburn in that first ball game, Jordan, that's going to springboard them into the national picture. If they get beat, I think you can just forget about Flusham for the rest of the year. But I don't even nobody's going to pay any attention as to how they do the rest of the year. But if they beat Auburn, they're going to be in the national picture. So especially with that quarterback, if he has a big game to go along with it. So I think their real big one here they better have circled and better be ready to play is Auburn.
All right, Coach. Now that we're through the top 10, let's kind of just jump through here and take a look at some teams that are important to this area, and we'll move to Texas A&M, Coach, at number 12. Their toughest game that they're going to need to keep an eye on early on, September 7th, on the road in South Carolina, taking on Clemson.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Yeah, to say the least, that's going to be one that they could easily be upset, or they could go in and get the big upset here. Going to be fun to watch. But I couldn't agree more. I mean, my goodness, how do you go to Clemson and not feel like you're going into an extremely difficult ball game that you could lose?
All right, Coach, let's drop now to number 18, where we've got the Auburn Tigers sitting there. Their toughest game to circle, a game you mentioned a moment ago. It's the first win of the season from AT&T Stadium in Dallas. They're going to be taking on the Oregon Ducks on August 31st.
Yeah, I agree with that one. And the flip side of what we just talked about with Oregon is true with Auburn. If Auburn can win that football game, show that defense, they've got a top 5 defense in the country, which is going to be a real challenge for Abe, the quarterback out there. But if they can show that defense and show a freshman quarterback in a big ball game like that on a big stage, whether it's Nix or the other kid, they're going to they've got to be able to show that they can at least be competitive with that guy under the center, and their defense can step up in a big ball game like that and take control, because that's what's going to happen for Auburn to win that football game. And if they lose it, it's bad news for Auburn the rest of the way.
All right, Coach, I want to drop now to number 20. It's not really a team that's followed a lot here in the area that we are broadcasting in. But, Coach, I want to look at Nebraska. Their toughest game, according to this list, October 26th against Indiana. And this could be a stumbling block for them, Coach. But I want to talk more so about Nebraska than more so the game. Because, Coach, what do you expect from Scott Frost in year 2 with the Nebraska Cornhuskers? He's going to get this program on the right track. We saw signs of them improving at the end of the season last year. But, Coach, is 2019 the year we really start to see Nebraska start to rise up and get a little bit better under Scott Frost, or is it still going to take him another year or so to get them back to that point?
Well, it depends on what point we're talking about. If it's competition on the national picture, it's going to be another couple of years away. They're at least another couple of years away, and they've got to expand that recruiting back out the way they used to have it. If it's on a local basis or competitive within their conference, they're going to be competitive because everybody they play, they're going to make it tough on them. So I think they're going to be in the small pool. They're going to be very competitive. In the big pool, they've got another year or two to go.
All right, Coach, and then our final team we're going to take a look at here, it's number 25, Mississippi State. The Bulldogs coming into this, and, Coach, we talked a little bit about Mississippi State and about how maybe you look at their schedule and you write them off in some games, but they've got a quarterback coming in that's going to be eligible to play for them this upcoming season, a guy that Joe Moorhead's very familiar with. He's a transfer from Penn State. Coach, you look at Mississippi State, their stumbling block here is going to be on the road, according to this list, September 28th on the Plains, taking on Auburn. Coach, this is a team that if their quarterback comes out and plays the way that you've heard that he's capable of playing, Coach, this could be a very interesting game for Mississippi State heading into this game against Auburn, because this could get started a little bit of rhythm for them inside the SEC West.
You bet. And they've got a lot of big ball games they got to play. There's no doubt about it. And they're going to be outmanned in most of them. But I can tell you this, everything I'm hearing about this quarterback is very, very positive. My gosh, you can look at the size. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds. Can move around, but has a great arm. Can throw the football, and is a sharp young man with good intuitive football skills and knowledge. Was a comer at Penn State, and I'm sure they probably wish they still had him. But anyway, Joe Moorhead's very familiar with him, and if he can come in and do what he's capable of doing from a talent standpoint, that we don't know yet, but we'll know pretty soon, then they're going to be tough for anybody to beat, because when you can throw the football and make people defend that field 53.5 yards, wide and 60 yards deep, you can beat anybody. So, word to the wise for anybody playing Mississippi State, you better hope this guy's a dud, because if he's a good one, you got some problems.
All right, Coach, we're going to take our final time out of the show. When we come back, we'll be wrapping things up right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Nothing's worse than heat-trapping sheets that make it impossible to get to sleep. That's why you need Sheeks. Sheeks breathe 10 times better than traditional cotton sheets to keep you cool. They wick away moisture 3 times more than traditional cotton sheets to keep you dry, ensuring a deeper, more restorative night's sleep. Visit trysheets.com/Stephen A to get 25% off your purchase plus shipping, a bonus pair of pillowcases, and a 30-night risk-free guarantee. That's trysheeks.com/Stephen A.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. Hey, we are also streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. And we're also coming to you live on your HD radio if you have that available in your vehicle as well at HD2 98.7 WYCT HD2, I should say. And we are just having a lot of fun on today's show. If you want to be a part of the last few minutes, you can always text or call into our studio line, 972-1945. Again, it's 850-972-1945. Getting back into everything, Coach, looks like the Dallas Cowboy running back Ezekiel Elliott is expected to meet with Roger Goodell about everything that's happened in Las Vegas back in May. And, Coach, the situation with Ezekiel Elliott is this is a guy he's gotten chance after chance after chance after chance from the NFL. At what point, if you're Roger Goodell, if you're the NFL, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, do you look at him and you go, you know what, we've given you enough opportunities and you've wasted them all away. I mean, there's been situation after situation, and you just continue to cause off-the-field issues rather than getting better on the field. It seems like we have talked more about Ezekiel Elliott and his NFL career off the field than we have for what he's done on the field. Coach, at what point does the NFL or the Dallas Cowboys say enough is enough?
Well, all I'm going to say is they've got to do something here very quickly that's going to make enough of an impression, not only on him, but other players in the league that have a propensity to do the similar type, have the similar type lifestyle. Now, he has pushed the envelope to the very edge, and if I were in a position to do so, I would take him out of the game for a while. He's been suspended, so the precedent is there, and he continues to push him again like either you can't do that to me or you won't do it or whatever. I would take him out of the game without pay, do something that would be that's severe enough to get his attention. And you got to keep him out now for long enough that it's going to hurt him, and it's going to hurt the Cowboys too. But you got to do it from a league standpoint. Otherwise, he will continue to embarrass the league and the football team, and Dallas should be all behind him on it.
All right, Coach. I want to go back to Tommy Stevens. That's the transfer quarterback from Mississippi State coming in. That's expected, if he does get the job, the highly talented quarterback that everybody expects a lot from. Coach, as you mentioned a moment ago, he is 6'5", 240, so he's a big physical quarterback, but he's a quarterback that can also throw the ball all around the stadium. Coach, you take a look at this guy, and if he is as advertised and he plays the way everybody seems to think he's going to, Coach, is this a situation to where Mississippi State, I'm not going to say they win the SEC West because, look, you've got to knock off Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M to do that. But if he plays as advertised, Coach, is this a guy that could bring Mississippi State back into that SEC West conversation and maybe put them ahead of teams like LSU and Texas A&M?
Well, sure. I'll tell you what it does. The absolute truth is that it makes them a very difficult game for anybody. And they could beat anybody. I don't care who it is, Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M. Now, I don't think they have the concentration of overall talent and depth to be able to consistently, week in, week out, beat those people. But anytime they play them, depending on breaks, depending on the psyche of the other team, depending on the preparation, all those intangibles come together. With somebody that can throw the football like that, they can certainly beat anybody. And I'm sure there's some coaches around that know that could happen. They're going to be very interested in seeing him play early in the year.
All right, Coach, and again, some sad news. We started the show off with it. Feel like we need to make the announcement again for any new audience we may have joining us here at the end of the program. Looks like Auburn police have made an arrest on the 16-year-old Johnston Edward Taylor, who was driving the Jeep Cherokee that did hit Rod Bramlett and his wife, causing their fatal accident. Coach, who was going well over the speed limit of 55 and also had marijuana in his system. Just a sad story.
What a shame. What a sad story. I just hate to hear it, but we got to get on. Got to get on with it, and hopefully this will deter some other people. That's all we can hope for.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. You guys have a great Tuesday.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN